Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode. I have a special guest for you. Her name is Jackie Wheeler, and she is the founder of Jackie Style Image and Branding Agency. She's been helping clients create an authentic, memorable, consistent style, image, and brand for over 30 years. Her greatest joy is seeing transformation take place when the most authentic version of her client appears. To learn more about Jackie's guest speaking schedule and personal styling and other services, you'll be able to contact her at her website, it's thejackystyle.com, but I'll have her share more details about that later. And of course, I'll put everything in the episode notes. Jackie, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited to get to chat with you today.
Yeah, and I love what you've got on, or at least the part that I can see, the upper part of you. Very nice. Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Really makes a great impression, and it's also very welcoming. And I think that that's something that often people who do style, it's not quite welcoming. Like it's beautiful to look at, but it doesn't make you feel like, oh, this is a really interesting person. I really like to talk to her. So I just wanted to reflect
Oh,
that back to you.
thank you. That means
Welcome.
so much.
You're welcome. So let me ask you this. Can you share with me a little bit of your journey? How did you get to do what you do? And what is it about it even more that brings you joy?
Oh, well, my journey started when I was tiny. My poor mama, who's a natural fashion personality, had this extra kid, extra daughter who just wanted to dress herself. She wanted to tell everybody else how to dress. I started dressing and styling my friends in junior high and high school. And then one day, I was about 18 or 19, I happened to meet an image consultant and she had coffee with me. And she put to words and to title the thing that I had been wanting, like that I wanted to do, that I was like, this is it, this is what I want. And so that just started my journey on that journey specifically into styling and knowing what that is. That was just that amazing moment with her. And then like the things that bring me the most joy is finding that my clients can consistently show up in their best way, in their best possible way. I love when they get their aha moments and those moments when they have that true moment of, wow, I really do look beautiful.
Mm.
Or this really does speak of who I am, how I'm representing myself. And because I look at style, image, and brand, like how that's all coming together and the messaging that they're saying is consistent with all of them.
It's funny, like when I hear your words, the words themselves don't really convey the meaning that goes along with them. To really see somebody step in to who they really are,
Mhm.
it's like it's a little piece of magic.
It is.
Right? It's like there's
Yes.
something so special about it that our words are just like somehow
It,
our words are inadequate to describe
yes,
what it really means. Yeah.
I
And
agree completely.
I think you're the first person that I've spoken to today who said, I have been doing this since I was young, right? Like this is something that it was inherently part of you.
Mhm.
Do you have any idea? Like, this is, I know it's a random question, but do you have any idea how you were so quick to grasp your gift and start using it at such a young age?
Well, that's a great question. Like I started with Barbie, obviously my mom, but I also had this really lovely woman that lived next door to my grandmother, and whenever we would visit, she had all boys, like boy children, boy grandkids, all that. But if she knew I was coming, she knew how much I love Barbie, and she would hand sew Barbie clothes for me. And I would take those Barbie clothes and And no, Barbie clothes are like your animals. Like they can just mix and match all the time, no matter what, right? But when you add what I considered couture Barbie clothes to it, I just lit up when I could say, oh, and this can go together, and this can go together, and this is how we can do that. And I would just mix and match and show and create. And it just, like, my mom would just watch me and she'd be like, you just know how to do this. And so she would just continue to encourage me to find out more, to find out I took some sewing. It's not my thing, but I learned about it. Like I learned about fabric. I learned about all those things. And I just was very encouraged in that um, from the get-go and from really amazing women around me that just saw that I knew naturally, which is it's kind of a weird thing, but the naturally knew kind of color and balance and that whole concept. So
Isn't it interesting that one of the things that brings you such great joy of seeing somebody come to their true self and to be, dressed and presented in a way that's really aligned with them, the encouragement that you give them is a result of the encouragement that you were given by the women in your
yes.
life, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Absolutely. And it's funny because I'm a boy mom now, and I think about like that boy mom and grandma and how she impacted my life. And I just look at my boys and I'm like, how are we going to impact you so you're impacting other women's lives? So it's not just women speaking into my life or other people's life, but I can have my guys speak into everyone's life.
Yes. And you get to speak into their life too. What a wonderful thing.
Yes.
There's something that's really powerful about this. Being in this time when children are often encouraged to be more of who they are. You know, I think that
Mhm.
hopefully that is an evolution that we're going through as humanity to allow people to be themselves, to encourage them to be themselves, because that's really why they're here. So like, why would we stifle that? And so to really recognize that the people that are in our lives, children, grandchildren, friends, family, that each of them has that gift, right? It's really
Mhm.
something. What do you find is the most common, I won't call it mistake, but the common challenge that a
Mhm.
client comes to you with? Like, how does it start for them?
Well, it depends on where they're at in our conversation. So there's a beginning conversation of I have this closet full of clothes and I have nothing to wear, right? That I have just so much, I'm overwhelmed with the thought process of how to pick what I want. And that's when we start digging into like, well, who are you though? Like you have this closet full of clothes, but is does any of it represent who you are? So there's that piece of it. And then the other piece is I know who I am. I get it. I have decision fatigue and I trust you because you know me in such a deep level, understand all of the things that I trust that you will style me in such a way that I'm not going to be embarrassed or whatever, that will put my into put who they are together in such a way that they just feel naturally it's their own. So it just depends on what piece that is. So if it's the first person, they don't know who they are yet. It's not necessarily a mistake. It's that discovery moment. Like I
Mm.
don't truly get who I am. And then the other is more that I forgot to call you and I bought a whole bunch of stuff and just randomly threw it all together. So it just depends. It depends on where they're at. So I'm a big color advocate. I'm a big like wearing your best colors and finding out what your body type is and finding out what words like how you want to show up when you walk into a room. And so it's not necessarily wrong. It's just they just don't know yet, right?
Right.
There's not mistakes that are being made. It's just they haven't discovered that yet. And I'm excited to be able to teach them.
That's great. I love it. And at the very beginning, it starts with what I call as coaching, with just the self-discovery. Who are you? What matters to you? And it's only when you start to do that self-discovery that you can start to uncover some of this. One of the biggest challenges that I have is that it's really difficult to find anything. I know what I like, but I can't find it because it's all frumpy and it's all dumpy and it all looks like somebody 100 years old would be wearing. And
Mm.
I know that things are a little bit easier in the US, but where I am in Canada, it is not so easy. And so I appreciate that there is this guidance that you can work with somebody because I know that I'm not the only person who has this challenge. Yeah. I would love to know if you have a great story for me of one of your clients who started out and just that transformation story about how did they start and what happened with them and how did it go and what did they learn and who are they now?
Yes. One of my favorite stories is she's actually one of my first clients, way back when. And her corporate office had invited me to come in to do a corporate presentation on image and the importance, and they were kind of doing some new dress code things, and then offered each of their employees some small group or one-on-one time with me. And this gal, her name was Jamie. She says, I do my job. I show up on time. I'm really great at what I do. I don't understand why I needed to even remotely talk to you about this whole image thing. Like, I'm fine. Thanks very much. Whatever. And I said, okay, I get it. You're right. You are fantastic at your job. I've heard this. Like, I've heard Jamie's really good at her job. How about we just talk about the things and you can decide from there? So we talked about a whole bunch of different things. She was like, oh, I didn't know that. And had, well, found some moments of discovery, but she was still like, I know, I just cannot believe that what you're saying will impact anything, like how I'm showing up will impact the world around me. And I'm like, how about we test it? She's like, what? And I said, why don't you prove me wrong? And she's like, oh, okay. I said, just for a week, 1 week, let's take all the things that we've talked about today, and you start on Monday. I think we had talked like a Thursday or Friday. She had the weekend to prepare. Go in on Monday, call me on Friday and tell me how it went. And so we talked about like what that could look like, how what pieces she already owns, that like trying to not trying to add anything, but just like showing up in a different way. I get a call on Thursday. So she doesn't even wait till Friday. She calls me on Thursday and she's like, first off, I really hate to tell you this, but you're right. I was like, thank you. She says, first I noticed that my coworkers were treating me different, and that there's a different kind of a thing that was happening. I couldn't really put my finger on it, but I was like, okay, whatever. And then I noticed that management was treating me a little different, but in a good way. It was all good. And I like, well, this is really interesting. Just today I got called into the office of my manager and they offered me a promotion. And I'm like, that's fantastic. And I said, because you do such a great job. She says, Jackie, they noticed that I did a great job. They noticed that I worked really hard, that I was on time, that I knew my job really well, that I collaborated, that I did all the things that I was supposed to in my job description. But I wasn't going to get the promotion because I wasn't showing up like a manager.
Mm.
And she says, this week they were watching me and they saw me show up like how a manager shows up. And thank you. And I was like, well, I just was hoping about the whole being just not necessarily treated differently, but that feeling of difference that she was
Yeah.
feeling with her coworkers. But the fact that she got the promotion on top of it was just like the cherry on top. And like how like she's like, I'm never going back. I totally understand what you're talking about. I totally get it. I talked about it with my manager, and I can't even thank you enough because now I have this new position that I've been waiting for. She'd been waiting for this promotion, but she had been passed up. So I have more stories than that, but that's the one that like it's at the beginning of my career. she that just impacts me every single time I just think about her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that impact on her life, but just because she decided to prove me wrong.
And there's something there about you didn't get all hung up on trying to prove yourself right. So you've given her the information, you've had the conversation, you heard what she was doing, you heard where she was feeling resistant, and then you just said, what about if you just do an experiment? Right. So you
Yeah.
allowed her to be the one that was owning it, like to own
Mhm.
it, just try it, prove it to yourself or not, prove it one way or another. And I think that that is a real powerful stance to take with people. We allow them to be on their own journey, right? We might know
Yeah.
lots of stuff, but if it's not for them, it's not for them. And so to really
Right.
collaborate with her in that way, and what a wonderful result. I mean, yes, I love the idea of the promotion, but more than that, that she was also noticing that people were
Hmm.
different with her. And she was
Yeah.
exactly the same person, just doing something slightly differently. It's really powerful. It really makes me wonder, like 5 years later, what was the effect, right? Like,
Right.
was she
Right.
still able to keep a sense of how this really changed her life?
She and I stayed in touch for a little while, and she did. And she got other promotions after that. Only just, we just kind of talk about, she didn't stay my client. She didn't really feel like that was like her need, but
Hmm.
she liked to have that conversation with me, and every now and then going, hey, you remember? And I'm like, yeah, I remember.
Oh, that's so great, Jackie. I love it. So let me ask you another question here. What is one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Oh, hmm. One piece of advice for my younger self. Um, well, it's something that I've kind of that reiteration of who I already am. Like it's that not giving up, and the when in using my gut more. That to trust my gut, to know that I really do know what the some most of the time what the right answers are, not all the time. But like there's moments I can think about like that I chose not to do something because somebody else didn't think I should. And I was like, no, I really think I need to do that. But I either they were in a respected position or whatever, that I was like, okay, well, I understand what they're saying and I won't do it. But to find out later that I should have done it. Like just that, so to trust my gut more and to just like keep going. Yeah.
Right. And really to trust yourself and know that you actually have that knowing. You already have
Yes.
that. Maybe it's deep knowing, maybe it's just an understanding, maybe it's just an inkling, but you know the right thing for you. I love that. One more question before we wrap up today. What is the most powerful question anyone has ever asked you?
Powerful question anyone has ever asked me. Mm, well, I hmm, I kind of think I have a couple that are ruminating in the back of my head, but I think the one that's the most powerful is what do you really believe? Like what is it that you're saying all these things, but in the end, what do you really believe? And me being able to answer that question, and me be able to like really look into that, what is my belief system, and what am I putting my where are my eggs in my basket, and is that where I want them, or um and that's I think the most powerful question, like where are you, Jackie, and what do you really believe?
Yeah.
Do you believe in this, or do you believe that? Like let's and then live it.
And it takes courage to live the thing that you really believe sometimes. But to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with yourself about it is huge, right? I love that. I love that question. Nobody's ever shared that question with me before. It's powerful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it.
You're welcome.
All right. As we wrap up our conversation today, I am so thankful that I got a chance to speak with you and to learn more about you and your business. Can you share how people can find out a bit more about you as well?
Of course. I probably the best place to come hang out with me and to find out more and how creative and my thoughts is through the Instagram at the Jackie Style. And of course, I have a little gifty for you at thejackiestyle.com/free gift. And there's a little style guide there for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for having me.